Hey, I'd like to welcome everyone to the April 28th audit meeting for the Monroe Town Board, where we will approve the vouchers for this month. And with that, can we get a roll call, Liam?
Councilman Logan.
Here.
Councilmember Newman.
Here.
Councilmember Leclerc.
Here.
Councilmember Donahue.
Here.
Supervisor Peter.
Here. And I know that there are some vouchers that may need one or two more signatures, or we all?
You can handle those then, if you'd like.
Okay, all right. So the first, we got a couple, 5 items, 5 vouchers for discussion. First one is one from Hampshire. I'll need town board approval to bind and pair insurance policy renewal for the period of May 1st, 2020 through April 30th of 2021. This policy includes our automobile, property, umbrella, crime, and general liability. The cost of this policy is spread out among all the town's various accounts, and the total is $94,942.90.
So.
Any discussion on that? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And do we need to do a transfer now? Or can we do that at the end? All right, so we will go ahead with a transfer for that account. So I'll be seeking a resolution to transfer funds in the amount of $699.11 to be transferred from account A 1910.4, which is the general unallocated insurance fund, and that the same amount be transferred from a 1990.4 general contingent account. And this is to pay for the 2020-2021 insurance policy with Hampshire.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Jeff, you want to run down through the rest of the discussion items, or you want to do all account transfers right now? Doesn't matter.
Let's finish the account transfers.
Okay, all right, we'll continue with the account transfers. I also need a motion to increase revenues as follows: $9,767 to account A 3089, which is a general fund grant. We can do these at the same time, and we need a motion to increase expenditures in the same amount for account 7310.4, which is a general beach contractual fund. And this is so that we formally recognize and accept the grant that was generously provided to the town of Monroe from the Glens Falls Foundation for repair of the beach pavilion. So somebody would like to move that.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then the last resolution, I will need a motion to increase revenues in the amount of $5,000 to account A 2089-8, is that accurate? Which is the General Recreation Donations Fund, and expenditures by the same amount to account A 7140.4, which is the General Recreation Contractual. And the reason for this increase is to recognize the donations from the South Glens Falls Youth Baseball, the South Glens Falls Girls Softball, and the Stewart's donation to replace the concession stand floor at our recreational park facilities.
So moved.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for that. And then continuing down, we have 4 topics of discussion remaining. Vouchers, I should say. The next is Aqualogics. We have a voucher that requires town board approval for the field service to check on the industrial park flow meter reading, which was reading high. This includes travel time and on-site time. It'll be spread among the water and sewer accounts, and it is in the amount of $1,185.50.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
So this is, so the flow meter is for the sewer, correct?
Yeah, so what was happening, we weren't, well, we had a problem with the flow meter, and then when we replaced it and it was accurately reading, we found out that the amount that the town was paying for going across the river was actually higher than the amount that we were really sending across the river. So, you know, this will help us financially with those various accounts.
Okay.
Any other discussion? I think we had a roll call on it already. No, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. The next voucher is completed by Bartlett, Pontiff, Stewart, and Rhodes. It's a combined vouchers for the months of January, February, and March of 2020. The total cost for town general legal services in those vouchers is $10,658, which requires town approval. This didn't get paid in the monthly way we typically do it because of some things that were going on with staff, as well as with the COVID-19 outbreak, which caused the town to have to cut essential employees by at least 50%, but this will get us up even with the board.
Good. Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries unanimously. The next item is a voucher from Glushians LLC, which also needs town board approval for an amount of $250. If you recall, when we did the work on the transfer station effluent pump, we had an amount not to exceed, and they did that, and then it required additional conduit and some wiring straps and miscellaneous supplies, which they were unaware that they would need that once they got into the job. So it exceeds the amount which was approved previously by a town board resolution by $250. So I'll need a resolution to authorize that payment for an additional $250. And this would come from account TS 8160.4. And the total cost would be $11,114.30 for the fix, but the motion is for an increase of $250.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And the final voucher for discussion this evening is from PS Technical Services. This is a combined total for two vouchers, which exceeds the $1,000 threshold. Are you looking for a total of $1,338 or just the $420 on top of that, Jeff?
A total of $1,338.
Okay, so we had previously approved, actually we didn't approve it at all, right? This is for additional work for wrapping up IT services with their firm. So this is for a total amount of $1,338.55. This would be spread out among various accounts across the town. If somebody would like to move that.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is this finish them off?
Yes, this is it.
Okay.
So now we are now,
Historical.
yes.
Okay.
Yep. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So that's all I have for vouchers for discussion. Anything else? Okay.
Yep.
I'm sorry, pink tag, application signature.
Okay.
2028.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't sign it. And I indicated that it was missing signature. Oh, you know what? Here, we want to put that in here and let it follow itself through. Okay, so all those will go on this. Oh, man, I wasn't out before.
That was intentional.
So now I'm good. Well, there we go. Better.
We can zoom in or out if you need.
No, zoom in on you?
No,
Are
no.
we talking, just you?
No. Is that all you have for the audit meeting is,
Oh, that's right here.
blind on this side, I can't see anything. Close.
These go. These all signed with three? No, that's fine.
What do we have, one voucher left?
Three, actually.
You have a wireless. My case, you don't have one, so. Okay. Right. Let's go to the.
While we're waiting, I just want to take a moment to thank Jeff Cruz as well as my confidential secretary, Lisa Sperry. Later on in the regular town board meeting agenda, I will be asking the board to accept the resignation of our special project aide, Rudy Click, and so Jeff and Lisa have picked up the slack in my office to make sure we have a seamless effort in making sure that the audit is completed in a timely fashion. So thank you to Jeff and Lisa on that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Not that he has a lot of spare time to do it with either. I mean, they both are very busy in general
Right.
and to take this on.
And we're also very fortunate that Jeff drew the short straw this evening, and he'll also be our audio technician, video technician for the regular town board meeting this evening. Is that everything? Everybody's got them all signed? Let me know when you're all set. You're good? All right, I'll entertain a motion to pay the bills as audited. So, next second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. And anything else for the audit meeting? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close the audit meeting.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone who is watching us through social distancing. This is a regular town board meeting of the town of Monroe for April 28th, 2020. And with that, I'll ask for a roll call from the clerk.
Councilmember Hogan.
Here.
Councilmember Newman.
Here.
Councilmember Leclerc.
Here.
Councilmember Donahue.
Here.
Supervisor Kuznier.
Here, and ask that everyone please rise for a pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And thank you, everyone. First item on this evening's agenda is the approval of minutes. We have March 24th, 2020 audit meeting and the March 24th, 2020 regular town board meeting minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And at this time, I don't have a need to set any future meetings and workshops. I don't know if any other board member does. All right. And item 3 on this evening's agenda is I'd like to just give a brief update on COVID-19. What's going on statewide as well as Saratoga County. And as of 5 p.m. this evening, there were 3,110 new cases statewide in New York, and that brings the new total for New York State to 295,106 cases that have tested positive for the COVID-19 virus. Here in Saratoga County, I'm providing updates from the county public health department that is on our website. We're doing that daily. As of this afternoon, there were 343 confirmed cases in Saratoga County. Of that total, 7 are new today. Saratoga County Department of Public Health Services announced this afternoon that 11 of those individuals are hospitalized at this time. And I'd also like to make the public aware, as well as board members, that Saratoga County and some community partners will be hosting a Facebook Live event, which is tomorrow, Wednesday, April 29th at 10 a.m. You can find more information on the town's website on where to go to view that. And I just have to give a shout out to not only the town of Monroe staff that continue to do their jobs and keep government operating, those at the county level as well, and public health and safety are doing yeoman's work to stay on top of the COVID-19 crisis and protect our residents. So I wanted to make sure that we gave a shout out to them. Here in the town of Monroe, as I indicated a little bit ago, I continue to post daily updates on the town of Monroe website that we're receiving from the county. I have been able to secure 5,000 cloth reusable masks that we have here at Town Hall. If you call Town Hall, we will make sure that any resident that needs a mask while supplies last can receive them. We're taking those calls and then setting those masks outside the building, so there's no direct interaction between town staff and our residents. And as I indicated, we have 5,000 and we will distribute those while supplies last. I've also provided those reusable masks to the Monroe Community Center. And want to give a shout out to Don Nichols and her staff, who are also assisting in providing those masks as needed there. So it's a group effort to make sure we get that out. I know that my office, the phone has been ringing off the hook. So I know the message is out there. It's on our website, and we will continue to distribute those masks until we no longer have them. For those that are viewing remotely, all you need to do is call Town Hall, and the number is 518-792-1030, extension 6, which is my office, and we'll make sure that you have access to those masks. Town Hall continues to remain closed to the public, but we do have enough staff, essential staff, that is keeping government operating. So the town continues to function. It's the same with the rec department, the water department, highway, and leaving one group out. Transfer station. Although we are unfortunately mandated to cut staffing by 50%, so we're operating every other day at the transfer station. So hopefully, as the governor allows various businesses, entities, government operations to start up again, we can get those hours back to normal, so that we don't have some of the lines that we're experiencing, particularly on Saturday mornings when people are lined up to utilize the transfer station. Now, the unfortunate part is, because there are so many people home, they're doing a fantastic job cleaning up their homes and their properties. So it's putting a little bit of a strain on our operations on the transfer station. And then finally, I received a call from David Byrne, who I know that the board has heard from him in the past. He works with RenewEnergy.com. Their business is involved in the solar industry, and they also have one of their offerings that they provide films that are, I guess they're silver impregnated, that is effective against coronavirus, SARS, MRSA, E. coli. You can put it on the surface of doorknobs and things like that. And it sounds like a good idea. These adhesive films destroy 99.9% of the viruses and bacteria because they have multiple layers of silver in them. They are activated by the touch, the heat in your hands, as well as light pressure when you touch them, and the salt from your fingerprints. So he did, at my request, provide some pricing on that. I would ask board members to take a look at that pricing, see if it's something that you're interested in, and if you'd like to move forward with that, we can get it on the agenda for the next board meeting, and maybe do at least town hall, highway, anywhere where you have, once we open up to the public, just to reduce the chances of those germs.
Sounds great.
And then finally, under the COVID-19 update, I did extend the state of emergency declaration for the town of Moreau for another 30 days. Ours had expired on April, I believe it was 17th or 18th. I extended it effective April 16th, just so that we were covered moving forward. And I will post that declaration on our website, as is all our other COVID-19 information. Item 4 on this evening's agenda, I have listed as streaming webinar services. Between the last board meeting and this evening's board meeting, we had asked for a quote from our new IT firm, Stored Tech. And in order for this meeting to be properly operated to meet the requirements of the state's open meetings law, they put together a proposal for us. which the town board agreed to in writing. We did not formally do it at a board meeting because we needed to have the equipment for this evening's meeting. So it was a little bit of a catch-22. But the board was in support of it. We had received a quote from StoredTech, which was originally approximately $3,100. And that was if we didn't have any equipment that they could utilize. The good news is that we were able to use one of the spare towers that we had so that we could film and operate this session and have interaction with the public. And so that reduces the cost of StoredTech down to $1,566.79 from the estimated $3,100. And we will also need approval for the subscription to Zoom for the whole year, which is $780. That will be a separate voucher. So I guess to memorialize the approval that we received in writing here in the open, I would entertain a motion authorizing StoredTech to provide the equipment and the service in an amount not to exceed $1,566.79.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion on that?
This will also be used for the planning and design.
So
work?
exactly. So the other reason that I thought it was important that we move forward in this direction is because we will have, we had canceled the planning board and zoning board meetings for the month of April. And, you know, we don't want to slow down or have a backlog of approval of projects that are in the hopper, particularly with the planning board. And so the same technology will be used by the planning board as well as the zoning board. So we will continue to operate.
That's great. Thank you to you and StoredTech for getting on this because so many people have projects going and we're all on hold until they could have these meetings. So.
Thanks. And I think we need a roll call on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And also hand in hand with that, I'll need authorization to obtain an annual subscription from Zoom in the amount of $780.
Motion to approve.
And is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And I just, before we move on, I want to thank the board for responding. I know it was short notice when I sent out the email, I think it was on April 23rd. You know, it's tough to get things, you know, in a timely fashion. And in order for the equipment to get here for this evening, we had to do it that way. So we couldn't have an open discussion on it. But, you know, all the board members were on board with it. So thank you for that. Item 5 on this evening's agenda, I have listed as a sewer infrastructure grant proposal. The LaBerge Group, and I think, and I apologize, I think that board members may not have gotten this until today. I'm not sure. Lisa indicated that she thought they didn't get it, that you folks didn't get it until today. There's a proposal from the LaBerge Group to assist us in securing additional funds for our $16 million sewer infrastructure project. There's 2 sources of funding that they'd be willing to work with us on to apply for grants. The first one is the Northern Regional Border Commission, where we would be in the running for up to $1 million in grants. And the reason that I have this on the agenda this evening, I mean, we can table it until the next board meeting, but it'll be a challenge because the grant deadline is May 15th. And the fee for that is $3,500 plus expenses. I spoke with Don Rhodes, town engineer that we're working with on this project. You know, what are we looking at expenses? And it's supposed to basically for photocopying, things like that, shouldn't be more than $50 to $100. So it's not a big expense that isn't listed there. So that is in the amount of $3,500. And then we have an opportunity through another funding source, the Empire State Development Grant Program, which will fund up to 20% the cost of a project up to $2 million. And that would require a fee of $5,000 plus expenses. Now, these are challenging times to be spending money that, for any kind of money at this time with the challenges that we're going to be facing for the town budget as we move forward. However, the board did commit to doing everything we could when we moved this project forward for the residents in the proposed sewer district. And if we're successful in securing this funding or any portion of it, these expenses can be reimbursed by the sewer district. Right now, they would not be reimbursed by the sewer district. So in talking with Don, we had a long conversation this afternoon about the probability of being successful. And he indicated, as we're all aware, a lot of these projects are shut down across the state. Ours is not. We continue to move forward, which makes us, gives us an even higher probability that we'll be successful in obtaining some level of funding in these grants. And if you all recall, during putting this year's budget together last year, we had earmarked monies for economic development. So my recommendation would be to authorize the supervisor to sign this proposal for both grants and $3,500 for the Northern Regional Border Commission grant, as well as their work on the Empire State Development grant. And we would be able to utilize funding from account A6460.4, which is the economic development account. And it had, as of March 30th, $44,939. Now, I think this is a prime example of an excellent use of those funds from an economic development standpoint, too, especially with the possibility to significantly reduce the cost to the people in that district, the economic development component, and most importantly, there's an opportunity for us to get reimbursement down the road. So that would be my recommendation on it, but I'll certainly welcome comments from others.
I don't want.
So I think it's great. I think let's go for it.
So would somebody like to make that?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just wanted to, like you say, it's kind of tough to spend money in the climate that we're in right now with this everything going on, but I'm a firm believer that sometimes you have to spend money to save money. And, this is a prime example, but it's certainly worth the, I want to say gamble, but it's certainly worth the gamble. It is a gamble because you don't know if we're going to get it or not, but I think it's certainly worth it if we can grab either one of these. It'd be nice just to cut down the cost of that project. So I'm certainly in favor of it.
Any other comment, discussion?
Right.
Nope. Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Thank you. I think, and I appreciate the fact that this was like coming to you, acting on this evening with the deadline of May 15th that's coming up, because our next board meeting, I believe, would be May 12th. And that doesn't give them a lot of room to get things taken care of. So I appreciate that.
And they've done great by us. So.
We've gotten to date $4 million in grants, and as well as 30 years zero interest loans. So it doesn't get any better than that.
No, I don't think they're leading us down something that they don't believe we would be. Possibly.
Okay. Now I have a request from Paul. I'm sorry.
Ms. Bittner just texted me. She wants to let us know that she is available if we need her to call in. She thought we were all going remotely.
Okay.
So she just want to let us know.
Oh, we want to welcome the town's esteemed counsel, Carla Bittner, on board, who is with us. And we certainly reach out if we do have any legal questions along the way this evening. So, good.
She says thanks.
So the first item I have under agenda item 6, which is highway. We do an annual spring limb branch pickup around town. We put this on hold. Paul had originally requested town board approval prior to us canceling the previous town board meeting, and he would have started the program on April 20th, and it would run through May 15th. My suggestion would be to authorize Paul to do that service. He'll have all staff on board for next week, so we'll have the staffing to do that. He indicated that he requires a minimum of 6 men to perform the service safely. And obviously they'll be practicing social distancing. And my recommendation would be to authorize the pickup to occur. And we will post, once I get detailed information for the dates, we'll post it on the website. And we also do an advertisement annually in the Post-Star and the Chronicle. So we'll include that information so that our residents know when we're going to start that.
Great.
Everybody's okay with that. So
No, I think it's great because I right around my neighborhood, there's piles, and I think a few people are wondering when it's going to happen. And I was a little nervous when I heard it might not happen, so I didn't want to knock on all their doors and let them know that those piles were. So I think it's great we're going to do it.
Okay. Again, we'll get the date that we'll run that for.
He's
Bill.
missing.
Well, I just think you got the chat window up, so I'm actually not visible, but I don't think I'm not visible to.
There we go. And, okay, so I'll entertain a motion authorizing that to take place with the proper ads run in the Post-Star and the Chronicle.
So
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And the next item on highway, as the board is aware, one of our new trucks was hauling stone from the industrial park, and my understanding is that it went into safe mode on the way to its destination. And upon review, we had actually was hauled to a dealer in, I think in Troy, if I'm not mistaken, or Hoosick Falls, probably Hoosick Falls, right? What they said was the exhaust gas recirculation valve has completed not working, which caused a leak in the antifreeze tank from back pressure. So both of those items need to be replaced. That's a $3,800 repair. It would come from account DB 5130.405, which has a balance of approximately $32,000 in that account. The good news is that I believe there's a potential that this could be covered under the Navistar MaxForce engine settlement. And so I know council is reviewing this with the highway superintendent. The deadline to file a claim is May 11th. And so I would ask for 2 resolutions. The first, authorizing the repair in the amount of $3,800. And that would be for, I think that's delivery, sales, and service out of Hoosick Falls in the amount of $3,800. And as I heard from Paul, I believe this is a dealer service repair only. So he did not get 2 other quotes.
All right.
And this would be for repairs on truck number 13.
so moved.
Second. When I talked briefly with Paul about this today, he said we had to pay it within a certain time frame too, to be eligible for that reimbursement from that possible settlement. So if we have the approval to do it, it should be done in time.
So we can pay a pre-audit, can't we? So why don't you, in your motion, authorize that we make the expenditure and that it also authorizes it to be paid pre-audit.
So moved.
Ms. Bittner just wanted to chime in, letting know that she will be working with Paul on that for the claim.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So did you move that? Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And the second half of that, we'll need a resolution authorizing town attorney to work with the highway superintendent to file necessary paperwork so that we have an opportunity to receive funding from that settlement.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And for the clerk's benefit, that is the Navistar Max Force engine settlement, which has a deadline of May 11th, 2020 to file a claim. And the next item I have for highway, Paul's looking for authorization to purchase some brooms for the sweeper. They are out of what they had, and the ones that they had used have now worn down because they've been doing a lot of sweeping. And so he has, this would be a request to purchase the necessary broom for truck number 40. There would be 6 main brooms and 7 gutter brooms. He does have 3 quotes. First one is from Monroe Tractor in Latham, with including freight. Looks like it's $1,875.35 plus freight of $175 for a total of $2,050.35. The next quote he has is from United Rotary Brush out of Plain City, Ohio. That's for $2,296.15. And the third quote is from, I think it's Syncon Equipment Incorporated out of Rush, New York for $2,568. Highway Superintendent is recommending that we go with Monroe Tractor in the amount of $2,050.35. This is be paid from account DB 5130.405, which, as I indicated earlier, has a balance of approximately $32,000.
So
Second.
She's here just to listen and talk as needed.
Awesome. We had a second. Any discussion? Did you get the second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And just want to give a little update on the highway garage. As everyone is aware, we are working to do the necessary upgrades for HVAC down there. And we will be starting the roof replacement shortly after that. At last week's construction meeting, which I think was held on Thursday, they're still anticipating a completion date of April 30th for the HVAC. I'm a part of the weekly updates, construction meetings down there. And one of the issues was the location of the stainless steel heaters that hang from the ceiling. We did move them out of the area where the trucks are on a lift to be worked on. And they should be able to accommodate the necessary flow where they are. An issue came up on how to vent, where we should be venting them out of the building. It was originally spec'd to go out the sidewall, but again, that ventilation ductwork impeded operations in the lift area. So we all agreed to punch up through the roof. So it'll actually save money to go up, but we'll be coordinating that venting when they start putting the roof on. So everything's on schedule there. And I believe the materials for the roof should begin arriving on site next week. So we're on track to get that buttoned up.
Great, wonderful.
Great.
And I do have notes that took place at all these construction meetings in my office. So if anybody wants a copy of them, just reach out to Lisa and we'll get you a copy. Item 7 on this evening's agenda is the MS4 stormwater report for the period, I believe it's March 2019 through March 2020. I'm required by state law to make the public aware that the MS4 stormwater report has been completed for the period of March 10th, 2019 through March 9th, 2020. And the draft report is available for review on the town's website, also in the town clerk's office and the highway department. Should the public have any questions or comments, they should be directed in writing to Maureen Lurkes, who's the storm management officer for the town of Moreau. The address is 1543 Route 9, Moreau, New York, zip code 12828. Or you can also email those questions or comments to Moreau hwy@townofmoreau.org. We have it on the record. Item 8 on the agenda I have is a dog control officer. As the board is aware, our dog control officer is resigning effective May 1st, 2020. She did give us proper notice. However, the board needs to officially accept the resignation. And before we do that, I just want to thank Alicia Flau for the work she did while she was with the town of Moreau. I know that a lot of the headaches that my office was dealing with went away immediately when we hired her. She did a great job and for the town and for our residents. So we wish her well in all her future endeavors. So I need a motion to accept her resignation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I just want to point out that that position is advertised on our website. And I'm not sure if we've done any advertising in the newspapers, but it has been on our website since we received notification from her March 16th. We have received some resumes. Encourage anyone who may be interested in the position to apply. You can go to the town website, get a copy of the application, download it, get it here to town hall. And I'd ask the personnel committee or all board members for that matter to take a look at what we've received so far so we can start a process to backfill that position as soon as possible.
Yeah. In the meantime, do we have a plan? Do we call the county?
So yeah, the county would be involved because we have a contract with the county. So, but we would like to get that taken care of. We have an individual that has very good background in working with the people. Well, with the public, I should say. It looks promising, and but if there's others out there, anybody knows of anyone, have them apply, and we'll work on it. Item 9 is I listed as a special project aide. That's Rudy Click. Rudy has been with the town of Moreau for a number of years, essentially doing the job that my office is now having to do through our principal account clerk, Jeff Cruz, and my confidential secretary, Lisa Sperry. I think he's been with at least 3, maybe 4 administrations here.
Rudy, yeah, he was here when I started, and this is my 13th year, so.
Yeah. So with all that's going on with COVID-19 and the uncertainty with when things will return to normal, he thought it was prudent that he resign. to give the town an opportunity to get somebody in there that could do the position. So we'll have to talk about that. It's a part-time position. My biggest concern and focus is maintaining employment for everybody, especially with the tough budget that we have coming up. And, while we have that opening, I'll be looking for ideas how to fill it efficiently and maybe do some other, expand that role to do some other operations that the town needs when that time comes. But we do want to wish Rudy well. He was great to work with. He did a fantastic job in all the numbers area, which is probably the most important part in town government, making sure we have checks and balances and all his efforts in matching up the resolutions to the expenditures. He did a great job. So we want to wish him well in whatever he decides to do moving forward. Hopefully he'll take some more time and relax instead of, working.
He's a real numbers guy, that's for sure. He really started.
Thanks, Rudy.
So I'll entertain a motion to accept his resignation.
Sadly, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimously. So that position is also on our, I think it's on our website, right? We advertise that? If it isn't, it will be tomorrow morning. So again, encourage everybody who may be interested in it to go ahead and apply. And again, still on the theme of personnel, I have item 10 on the agenda listed as our part-time code enforcement officer. And Peter Goslaw has indicated that he will be resigning effective the close of business April 30th as a Town of Moreau part-time code enforcement officer. He indicated that it's been a pleasure to serve the community of Moreau. He was not a resident of ours, and he did have a commute that was involved to come down and do the job. I can tell you that he did it very thoroughly. It's probably one of the tougher jobs in local government to carry out, and he did a great job with it. So we wish him well, as we did with our other employees that will no longer be working for us. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to accept his resignation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And again, that job is posted on our website.
Definitely stay busy when you see his reports.
He certainly did. All right, number 11 on the agenda is the municipal water IMA agreement with the Village of South Glens Falls. I just want to give the board an update. I think we're pretty close to getting where we need to be on that. I had a conversation with town engineer, Don Rhodes, actually about an hour and a half ago with most recent information. Earlier today, I had reached out to Saratoga County Water Authority. I'm actually a member of the Saratoga County Water Authority Board of Directors. And I spoke with their executive director, Ed Hernandez, in letting him know what we would like to do moving forward with our agreement with the village. He thought that wouldn't be a problem. He's going to get it on the next month's agenda for the Water Authority meeting, so we'll have a formal approval of that. And my recommendation, because there's a lot of moving parts with this, is that we do a similar agreement that we had in place before, but do it for a 6-month term, because in 6 months we may be in a position with what we've got going on with the water districts where we might have to tweak it a little bit. So, if we're not there, then obviously we'll extend it for another 6 months. So if the board's okay with a 6-month period on that, I'll work with Carla and Don on that. I'll get a email to the County Water Authority. If the board is all in agreement, I'll make sure I share it with you before it goes. And if everybody's in agreement, we'll get on the agenda for the next County Water Authority meeting and let the village know that they're all set.
Okay, great. I think we'll be happy to do that.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I know Nick's been patient trying to
Yeah, no, we
Trying
appreciate
this out on their end, and I just, glad we have a better answer for them now.
Yeah.
Plan, so it's great.
So get that taken care of. Item 12 on the agenda is the standard workday for certain positions here at the town, New York State local retirement system requires that the local governing body, whether it's the county or the town, adopt by resolution the standard workday for certain positions, and they include the supervisor, the assessor, and the supervisor's confidential secretary. So I think, Leanne, do you have a copy of the resolution? Okay, and I think the board has a copy also. So basically it's a resolution where the following hours will be reported to New York State retirement system based on the record activities maintained and submitted by those officials to the clerk of the body. And for supervisor, which is myself, Theodore Kuzniers, the standard workday is 7 hours for a term of January 1, 2020 through December 31st, 2021. The days per month based on record activities would be 22.48. The assessor, who is Leah M. Cronin, her standard workday is 7 hours. Would be for the term of October 1, 2020 through September 30th, 2026. And that equates to 25.15 days per month. And then the supervisor's confidential secretary, which is Lisa A. Sperry, standard workday also is 7 hours, and that would be for the period of January 1, 2020 through December 31st, 2021. Which equates to 27.98 days per month based on record of activities. So I would need someone to move that resolution.
So,
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? And for that vote, we will note that council member Donahue is, I guess I'll have to formally absent, right? Is that how you recorded? Okay. I think he just had to leave momentarily. Okay. And item 13 is supervisor items. First item I have is, well, before I go into supervisor items, I just, council member Donahue, we did take a vote on the standard work days. Do you want to state for the record whether you would have been in support of it?
I am supportive.
Okay, so
I read it.
you have that note? Okay. And again, moving on to supervisor items, the first item I have is I think board members have been getting notifications. I know my phone is ringing off the hook regarding the issues that we're having with the industrial park as far as people in there target practicing, dumping a lot of garbage in there. We organized a meeting, and I want to thank New York State DEC for being a part of that meeting, as well as representatives from Boralex. We had council member Leclerc, whom all met this morning. We went down to take a look in person of, what was going on there. I think we have a good resolution to how to best address issues that we're facing down there. The first thing we're going to do is ask our rec staff to post the property around the perimeter. The DEC officer indicated that, if we have those proper postings in place, that he will then be able to take action for anybody who is trespassing on that property. There will be individuals that will have it monitored by camera down there, and hopefully that will assist us in minimizing trespassing. National Grid, working with the town and Boralex, We believe they will help us put up a gate in key locations that will minimize vehicle traffic going down into the key areas where they're actually doing the dumping. We also had our highway superintendent, that was a part of this morning's meeting. And Borlex has agreed to pay for the cost of getting a 30-yard dumpster down there. And Paul and his employees, Paul has graciously agreed to utilize them to load up the sofas, the TVs, the toys, into those dumpsters. So we thought the proper course of action would be to immediately begin posting. Second of all would be to get the gates in place. And once the gates are in place, then we'll get the dumpster or the roll off, and we'll get the town highway department down there to start working on it. Because really, if we can't keep the vehicle traffic out, there's really no sense in starting that.
Right.
Although maybe we should put the dumpster down there, leave it open, and they can throw it in the dumpster when they go down.
I'd like to know who did it, make them theirs. More than I
So
live here.
the DEC officer did indicate they have some leads on some of the dumping that's going on down there. So, and then, you know, as I indicated, I'm hopeful that we'll have some very good news here in the next 60 days regarding more activity in the industrial park. And I think the more activity we have with tenants down there, it'll minimize the number of people that are going in there for nefarious reasons.
A lot more eyes, yeah.
So that is the industrial park meeting. I received correspondence from Nick Bodkin, who is a South Glens Falls Village trustee, indicating that while it's extremely disappointing, the village board has made the decision to cancel this year's memorial ceremony due to concerns for health and safety in relation to COVID-19 outbreak. So that's disappointing. Board members may have seen in the paper that the Saratoga plan was awarded a $500,000 grant for trail planning between Saratoga Springs and Moreau.
That's exciting.
And that's incredibly good news. The town of Moreau has been involved in that endeavor regarding the Palmerton Trail. And this will, you know, help us go a long way in establishing multi-use recreational trails between, you know, that part of the county and the town of Moreau. And we have, as a liaison, Bob Vittengale, who's been attending all those meetings on my behalf when I'm unable to make it. So I want to thank him for all his involvement. I know that he's been very excited to participate in that. And this grant comes from the Sarah B. Folk Charitable Fund. People who don't know anything about Sarah, she was I believe she was a Saratoga Springs attorney who was very active in nature, loved dogs and horses and the power of friendship. And so that donation was made on her behalf. So we're thrilled to have that. And the partners that are involved in this project include the city of Saratoga Springs, actually the county of Saratoga, the village of Corinth, and the towns of Corinth, Greenfield, Moreau, and Welton. And we also have buy-in from the State Office of Parks and Recreation and Historic Preservation, as well as the State Department of Environmental Conservation. So we've got state and local county governments involved. And we also have Skidmore College that's a participant, and the Open Space Institute, and obviously Saratoga Plans. So very good news there.
That's great. That's a huge tract of land. I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
realize until didn't they come here a couple years
So
ago?
the southern Palmerton range is over 40,000 acres. So it is a lot, and it's predominantly forested landscape. And the three key recreation hubs are Moreau Lake State Park, Daniels Road State Forest, and the Lincoln Mountain State Forest. So it's a big area. And we're fortunate to be close to it and involved. Next item I have under supervisor items. The board members, I believe, received a copy of the the semi-annual 2020 explosive gas monitoring for our closed landfill. Board members have a copy of the results. They're all in the acceptable range. We did have some notes of some of the vent pipes, which happens typically after the winter, being knocked over, coming out of the ground, and my office has reached out to Paul, and he's going to have staff down there making those corrections. When did that come in?
Yeah.
April 22nd. Next item under supervisors items. A little while back, I received a request from one of our residents who happens to also be a veteran, Mr. Donald Amorosi. And he requested that the town of Monroe fly the POW MIA flag. And he has graciously agreed to provide us with that flag. And so I responded to him on behalf of the town and the town's residents, letting him know that we would be honored to fly the flag when he provides it to us. And he actually followed up with a thank you letter to me, letting us know that how thrilled he was to that we accepted his offer. So I know that I think Council Member Donahue is working with him to get the flag. And as soon as we get that, we'll get it up on the flagpole here at Town Hall.
Great. Thank you.
That's all I have for supervisor items. Under committee reports, as I indicated, I'm on the board of directors for the Saratoga County Water Authority. We had our monthly meeting last week, and just want to highlight some items that came out of that to make the board aware, since I am a member there, what's going on at the county. In the report, the executive director, Ed Hernandez, said that due to the COVID-19 conditions, operations staff continue to remain separated and work out of various locations at the facility. Everybody's coordinating their activities via cell phones. The plant operated well last month with no hiccups, and lab results show that the water authority system is operating well within regulatory limits. He also noted that the city of Mechanicville has begun construction of a pipeline along Route 67 to connect the water authority at Coons Crossing. And we anticipate that they'll be purchasing water from the county by the end of 2020. And the average, I think it's like the average sales for the month of March was about 5.6 million gallons per day.
That's all for water.
Yeah, so it's pretty close to last year. And as the board is aware, we have that facility located here in the town of Monroe where they draw water out of the Hudson River. So there's that. I know under committee reports, we also have the transfer station committee was looking into the cost of oversized rugs. I know, let's see, Council Member Hogan and Donahue were on that committee, both have looked into it, and I think you have an update or
We have a recommendation.
recommendation.
Which, so for rugs over the size of 12 by 15, which at this point the cost is $25 for anything over that, we'd like to make it 12 cents a square foot for residents and 15 cents a square foot for non-residents for anything above the 12 by 15 rug. Obviously, we have to rely on some honesty from whoever bringing the rugs in, but with that, there's, if they're bringing in a truckload of rug, it's kind of like, okay, what do you have here? And I think that what we've seen is it doesn't happen often, but Ted has been kind of negotiating with one or two people that have done this, and he got more money than the 25 because of the size of the rugs. Like it makes, you know, right across the board where somebody can pick up the sheet and say, okay, it's 12 cents a square foot, and this is what I pay. And they understand that. So we're going to make the recommendation to change this on the transfer station checklist or transfer station sheet as far as the price, and to go 12 cents for residents and 15 cents for non-residents.
Sounds good to me.
No, way there, you know, I was talking to Ted today, actually, you got something concrete, you know what I'm saying? You got something that you can go down and look at it, there won't be any negotiations needed, other than what size you have. And this is how much we get, so I think it's a good recommendation.
Do we know how other municipalities handle it?
No, I did not get an opportunity to reach out to them right now.
One of the things that I found over the years that the more black and white we make our policies, the easier it is for our staff. One of the challenges here, obviously, you have to rely on, you know, honesty. I can tell you it's even a challenge when, you know, we have a per bag fee. Getting accurate accounting of the number of bags going in there can sometimes be challenging. Is there any way we can extrapolate that into, you know, additional sizes with a flat fee? So that somebody says they have a, I don't know, a 20 by 25 rug, and not calculating, you know, cents per square foot, we'll just give them a flat number.
We could do that. It's just that, like, what I'm gathering is that this might be like somebody tearing up a rug in their house.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it might be 13 by 20, or, you know, it might be a room this size. It's just 140 by 50. Speak up. You can't hear me. And it's trying to resolve that issue where we're getting a flat fee for something over a 12 by 15 rug. And Ted didn't think we were getting enough money for it.
The only problem I have is you say simplify, and I agree 1,000%. But the thing is too, is first you got 8 by 10, 10 by 12, 12 by 15, you know, you're gonna have this line of all the different size things. I think simplifying it with the square footage is actually simplifying. And Ted said to me today, he said, the ones over what's listed on the price list now, he said the number of rugs that he gets, those difficult sizes, the bigger sizes, he said he's only had 2 or 3 since he's been there. So, I mean, you know, for as few as he's gonna get, I think go by the square footage would be a simple answer to it, rather than have a menu of, you know, a dozen, 15 different size rugs. It's all different size rugs. I mean, it's, and I guess we're gonna have to maybe hope people are gonna be out of all the size that we're getting. You know, but if somebody said, I got 8 by 10, I got a truckload that's, you know, 8 feet off the back of the truck, you know, that's not 8 by 10. You know, it's gotta be common sense. But like I said, for a few times that we might take a hit, it might be easier to simplify it this way.
Well, if we, yeah, in the current schedule, that last number is over that size. Do you want to have like another size up with a flat rate, and then anything over that is a flat rate? If it only happens 2 or 3 times?
That's right, it only happens a few times, and maybe push that flat rate up there.
I don't know what the number would be, but as long as we cover our disposal costs, because, you know, the rugs are heavy. when they get larger.
Right.
So is Ted's concern that so the number for the 12 by 15 rug is okay at $20? He's okay with that? For a resident?
That's my understanding.
That's my understanding.
Okay. So if it only happens a few times, I'd be okay, for simplicity's sake, doing $35 for over 12 by 15 for a resident, and then, 50 for non-resident.
That's fine with me. I was trying to resolve something that he brought to us.
Right. I just, all I can think of is when you got 20 cars lined up
Yeah,
and we're punching in, how many square feet you got? Just do a flat rate. As long as we're covering our disposal costs, we're taking care of our residents.
yeah, I don't think it happens that often, so I don't, even if we did take a little bit of
Something like
that.
that, anything over that 35 for residents?
So,
Make it a good hefty one for the non-residents.
okay.
I think 50 is good.
So we'll leave the language at over 12 by 5, do 35 for a resident and 50 for non-resident. Okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that sounds.
It doesn't matter if like any one of those dimensions is bigger than that. If I can see someone's coming over and we're going, but it really is the size of this, they don't want to pay, but.
Well, again, it comes down to verification and,
We're having people pull up the stuff off the truck.
Right.
and we do have somebody that we hired part-time
The
to
rug layer is going to.
verify the sale.
I'm fine with it.
So somebody want to move that?
So moved.
Second.
Did you get what we want there, Leanne? Okay. Any other discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So hopefully that'll make Ted happy. I do have another item. The town, under the leadership of council member Noonan, has been working to come up with a design which we could use for emblems on our vehicles as well as town flag. The town has been active in providing input on what seemed to work, what didn't. I think we have it narrowed down to a couple, and I'll let Council Member Noonan
Sure.
run with that.
I know I sent, an email about some updates and some designs. There was one particular designer that continued to work with me, the others have kind of fallen off. So we have a few designs still. I know I indicated maybe we're getting closer to one, but we're not gonna narrow it down tonight. We still have a couple we want to look at, send out. But like I said, just a replay to how this went. Engaged a company back in early March. The way it works is you send them some pictures, a little narrative of each picture of the logo you're trying to create. And what they do is they turn it into a design contest, and they have designers all over the world. And we chose a fee of, somewhere a little over $399, a little bit more than that, not much more. And we chose that number because it allowed us to get the max number of entries to this design contest. I had a bunch of stuff had come through, offered feedback about some possible changes that we would like to see, and they continued to write back and forth. Some continued, others fell off. I know at one point I sent you all take a look at these three kind of a thing, and I offered some feedback to all of them, and a couple of them, the way it works is they can withdraw their designs. They can not continue to be part of the design contest. And so now we've got a few, I guess ultimately we want to look at a little more in detail. And then, we'll go forward from there.
Yeah, I think if you want to send around maybe the top 4 or 5. What I'd like to do is have the board members agree on, I hate having this back there, but agree on 3. We put it on the town website possibly, let the residents provide input to us on it, and that way they can say they had a hand in it. We just, got them to that point.
Sure.
And we'll bring it to the board, and if everybody's in agreement, we can move forward with the
Sounds
final.
good.
How's that?
Sure.
That work for everybody?
I like that.
Good.
I like that idea.
All right.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
I know that's time consuming to do that kind of.
It's fun, but there's a lot of, actually a lot of designers are in countries where our language is not the same. So that was interesting with some language barriers at times to, if I would say something, hey, try this, if it's more of a political speech where it's more casual, it came back something completely different. It's like, that was what I was expecting. So, things like that. So, so I can I'll send the stuff out here in the next day or so.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for that. Before I go to privilege of the floor, any other committee reports?
I just wanted to touch on something. John and I got the telecom with Mr. Baker, is that his name?
Dave Banger for insurance.
Oh, right.
And, being new, I didn't know what to expect. I expected him to sit down and source some numbers out and stuff. Here's what you got, here's what you got. But he was so thorough. I mean, it was really an education. He was thorough. John asked some great questions. And I walked away from that meeting because he gave scenarios. Here's what you're covered for if this were to happen, if this were to happen. And I walked away from that meeting and thinking and knowing that this town is fully covered insurance-wise. And I was also impressed with the cost. The cost is more than reasonable. I know what I paid for insurance just for my house, and I look at that and look at what the town's covered for. And I think we have super coverage, and I was very impressed with the presentation that Mr. Nick put on. So it was educational for me, to say the least.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. He's always been very responsive when we have questions.
Right. Okay, so I'll move on to privilege of the floor now that we have the technology available to us where the public can provide comment. And anyone who wishes to address the board, the number that you would call in and that'll come to this phone here on my desk is 518-792-1030, extension 222. It'll be the privilege of the floor will be operated just like we normally operate them here by resolution. Residents will have an opportunity, or the public will have an opportunity to speak for up to 3 minutes, and remind everyone to keep your comments germane to town business. We will not engage in personnel discussions, and once you're allowed to be live, please state your name and your address so that the clerk may have that for the record. Due to the technology limitations, we can only take one call at a time. If you hear a continuous ringing on the call, that means there's a call ahead of you. We will take them in the order that they come into town hall. If you stay on the line, we will get to you in that order. And hopefully things will work as planned. So with that, anybody from the public that would like has an opportunity to call into the town board at this time. And again, that number is town hall number 518-792-1030, extension 222. If not, we will close privilege of the floor And I don't have any other business at this time. I don't know if any board member does. If not, I'd like to thank everybody for being here in person. And I think we got a lot accomplished, particularly considering that we did not have a meeting 2 weeks ago, and we're back on track. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. And to the public, thank you for joining us.